Welcome back. We're here with Ruben from RL Fire Protections. Ruben, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes,
Good.
I'm doing good. Thank
Good.
you for letting me host this like in your house. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you being a good host. So thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for thanks for coming out.
Oh my gosh, of course. And so with you being like in the fire protection space, I think death is is always something like people think about when they think about these things. And I saw online that nearly 3 out of 5 related fire deaths occur in buildings without smoke alarms.
Hmm.
Like how, when you're working with the business, how do you kind of like go about making sure that they are fully protected from like those, death case?
Well, that's part of our job is to go in and do inspections quarterly, annually, and a little more extensive inspections every 5 years for commercial buildings. So we do a life safety inspection on the system itself. We make sure that everything's to code, to the system requirements, and for that reason, we want to make
Yeah.
sure it's not just for the public, but responding first responders. They're on the roof, they're venting. If the system isn't working and they believe it's working, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So we inspect and we certify them, like I said, and that's our job to make sure everybody's safe. Yeah.
Yeah, and businesses lose an average of $23,000 per fire incident due to downtime and loss of production from their employees and things like that. How do you guys make sure that this doesn't happen when it comes to businesses that you're working with?
Well, that's a great point. I mean, when you think about a fire, the response time to hooking up hoses, and when people say, well, what, sometimes they don't want a sprinkler system because they're worried about a water issue.
Yeah,
Well, if your building's on fire, you're going to flood your building anyway with the fire department, right? So we try to explain to them that like the loss on a sprinkler system, water damage is a lot less because you're not losing your building, possibly the entire building. You're just dealing with water issues,
yeah.
water cleanup. But you got life safety, and your building's completely covered, right? So that's what these systems are intended to do. So.
And do those water systems actually do a lot of damages to the business themselves, or like is that kind of like a myth that?
I think when you talk, they are dumping 200-300 gallons a minute. So, but when you think about what the reason is, right? Because a fire, like I said, you're going to have smoke and fire damage. You're going to lose a big portion, if not the entire building, is going to come down.
Yeah,
To me, that's millions of dollars in loss compared to maybe talking somewhere in the two figures compared to that. It's a huge difference in contrast of expense, and when you can't put a price on life too. So I think
yeah.
that's the biggest key is get the systems in early, and you're good for the insurance companies love them because and when an insurance company likes it, you're doing a good thing because they know it's going to protect the building, and there's not going to be any big claims. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
is there any advantages when it comes to insurance and putting in like some of these systems?
Definitely, always huge from what I hear because I don't own these buildings,
Yeah.
but huge insurance breaks when you have the systems in. A lot of
Wow.
times they won't even write big warehouses like an Amazon building, won't even write an insurance policy without a fire protection system
Wow.
because it's such a
Yeah.
big plus to have them. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure things are protected. You want to make sure, you know, like you said, it could be a huge prevention mechanism to like
Right.
make sure that the entire building like isn't going down.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it's a fire prevention. We don't want these things to get out of control, and that's why we design them to do that.
Yeah, and North America, has some of the most strict laws when it comes to fire security and protection. Do you think this has to do with safety, or do you think this is more a kind of mechanism for the government to pull in some more money?
No, I think when you talk about fire life safety, everything that we are required to design to or install to, the standards are all done by tests. Either there was an accident, a big fire, but they're all done by these 8 testing agencies to prove what we're requiring is actually going to work. So you're talking about like UL, FM, Global, all these companies are doing fire tests, scenarios, and say, okay, this is what would happen without, and this is what happens with.
Yeah.
And we get to see all that. And that's the only thing that gets adopted into code is things that are actually make sense. I don't think it's a money pool. I think it's a good system, and that's why I think it's getting more and more. The requirements are getting more and more strict because of obviously all the fires that are happening right now in California.
Yeah.
Even though wildfire, there's really nothing you can do for that as far as a fire system goes. But for building fires, standard fires, residential or kitchen fire, stuff like that, they're designed to to work properly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you get into the government aspect of it, I think you always have to question like those things. Like, is it like a government play?
Right.
Because I think there are some industries where the government, lines things with regulations and licenses and fees, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, do I really need like 5 licenses to do this, or can I just do it with one?
Right. No, I agree. I think when you're talking about certain trades and specific specialty trades like fire protection, they are pretty strict on licensing, insurance, certifications for installers, and I think it can be overwhelming and it can look like it's a pool for money, but I think at the end of the day, these systems are so intricate and so heavily designed and very specific that you do need the qualifications, and I think they're right on the money as far as they haven't gone too overreach yet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And for a business owner that might want to get into the fire protection business industry, is there like a lot of money to be made in this industry?
Yeah, I think it's a great industry. I think it's because it's one of those. It's a like a plumber, HVAC. It's one of those trades that it's always going to be a need. And I think and construction. It just everything's expanding. There's more people, more requirements for buildings. I think it's a great trade. Yeah, if anybody's looking for it, it's definitely an excellent trade. Yeah.
And like mainly in Ohio, you were working with new builds and things like that.
Right.
Why transition like into the new builds?
For me in Ohio, because we're I'm trying to get the expand our company into Ohio. With the manpower we have here, I think for us it's easier to schedule new construction versus remodels like we do in California in service because we have most of our manpower in California still right
Okay.
now. So until I get to that point in Ohio, new construction is easier to schedule. I can schedule that in advance. We know what's going to take
Yeah.
to get this. And in California, we have so many guys that we can service calls, emergencies, inspections. You need a lot more manpower for scheduling because things come up overnight, whatever, and
Yeah.
I just don't have the manpower here for that yet. But yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
And you also had the opportunity to sell half your business to a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Could you kind of talk about what that process was like when it comes to actually selling a part of your business?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, I owned it for 20 years alone. And when I decided to make the move to the Northwest Ohio, I had to make sure that someone was going to be able to be in California to run those operations. I mean, it was running like a machine. So the transition was a lot easier because we already had basically everything laid out. Everything was pretty much, I had laid out the plan, right, how everything works. And my partner, he's a family member, cousin Jose, he had worked with me in the past. He's very knowledgeable in the industry already. He's been in the trade for a long time. So it was an easy transition. And so that part was easy. I know sometimes partnerships are hard, but that's why I waited quite a while
Yeah.
to actually even get to that point. But they've been doing a great job. I mean, it's running even better now with
Wow.
the help,
Okay.
trying to
Yeah.
run it alone as far as owner. It's really nice to have two great other partners in the business now. Yeah.
What do you think about the myth of never mixing family and business together?
I think that's it's a really fine line, right? I
Yeah.
think it is a tough area. I think I would go cautiously into that. You really do have to trust the person you're going to be partners with, and just know that your goals are aligned.
Yeah.
Your goals for the business are aligned. Yeah.
For sure. And when you kind of look at your life in general, what is one thing that you are most proud of?
I think most proud of. I think just the way we take care of, as far as business related, the way our customers always come back. We've never really had to advertise in 20 years because of all the return business and all the referrals, because we're honest with our customers. We don't overbid anything. We don't bid things that aren't required, right? Because it's like going to a mechanic.
Yeah.
People don't understand these systems.
Yes.
We do, so they rely on us to give them the accurate requirements. So we're always honest. We're always on top of everything, and we take care of our people. So that's what I'm proud of mostly is how our customers return to us. Yeah.
And do you think this desire to be ethical is something that you were taught, like maybe from your parents or maybe from like you as younger, like why be an ethical human?
I don't know. I think it's always been in me. I think even if I forget to pay for something, I'm always going back.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna go back. So that's what kind of person I am. And I think that translates really well into business. I think you have to be an ethical person to be successful in business. I think in the long run, if you're not, it will catch up with you.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we've been so successful for this long.
Absolutely. I have two more questions
Sure.
for you. If you could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
Wow, I never thought about that one. I think for sure in the past would be my mom. She passed away a long time ago. I was uh, almost a little over 20 years ago. So I'd love to be able to have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And in the present, gosh, I think probably the President of the United States.
Okay.
I've always been really interested in what the decisions they have to make. Talk about running a business, right?
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that. You talk about top of the head of the United States, commander in chief. That'd be pretty cool.
What would one thing that you'd want to tell your mom today?
Man, just how much I love her. You always think you always have those kind of regrets, like maybe you didn't tell them enough, maybe you didn't spend enough time with them, and I don't have a lot of regrets, but that might be one of them. And so that would be one thing. Just how much you love and miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think she would be proud of what you've built?
Absolutely. I think she'd be happy to see where I am in life and where my kids are in life, and now I have a grandson that's really now taking up all my time. And I think she'd be really proud of that. Yeah.
I love it. I have one more question
Sure.
for you. Why did you decide to partner with us and offer the discounts?
Well, I met you at that charity thing, and I really, I think we kind of hit it off. And when you're talking, I'm always there to help other business owners that are or entrepreneurs that are looking to start a business. I'm always there to back them and support them because I had that when I was starting my business. So I always, if I can be of help in any way to you guys to get your business launched, and if we can offer discounts to people that are using your business, I think it's a great partnership, and I'm excited to see what happens with it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we greatly appreciate you and just your support. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are the questions I have for you. How can people find you? And
Okay.
what is one thing you want to leave people with?
We have a website, rlfire.com. It's pretty simple, and on there you'll find my personal contact information and my partner's personal. And what I want to leave is that's who you will always be talking to. You're never going to talk to a customer service line. You're going to have our direct line 24/7 for free estimates, questions. We don't charge for estimates. We don't charge for questions. We do give a lot of time to people to talk to them through their projects. And I think that's where people do like us because they have that personal connection with the owners. So
You guys care.
we do. Yep, for sure.
Ruben,
Really nice
thanks for coming
to-
on.
Thank you very much.
I
Appreciate you.
it.